Today on Write Your Book with author Sharon Hughson, we're going to talk about how to get started writing a book. Today, I'm going to be talking about committing to a writing practice. Writers write, my friend. If you want to write a book, you need to write, and a writing practice simply means showing up at the page. So the terminology writing practice, I believe, comes from this book, Writing Down the Bones by Natalie Goldberg, which I finished this past fall. And as you can see, I don't have as many tabbies in it as I do for others. I think the page I marked was different writing prompts. If you're having a rough time getting started, she has a flow. So what she talked about, and I don't know if you're familiar with Natalie Goldberg, I really wasn't, but she was a teacher, a writing teacher, and she has written mostly poetry, but she has written a couple novels as well. So her idea of a writing practice is that you sit down and you write. The end. That's how you write a book. Seriously, Sharon, did you just say that all I have to do to start writing a book is start writing a book? Yeah, I did. So let me break it down for you in a specific three-step thing, and the fourth step to help you tweak your writing practice so that you have one that works for you. So decide when you're going to write. Okay, I know this seems like, wow, okay, that seems pretty obvious. Is it pretty obvious? I want to write a book, and yet you never sit down and write. My friend, your book will not get written if you don't sit down. When are you going to write? Take a calendar and write an appointment for yourself for when you're going to write. Maybe it is at 8:30 p.m. every evening after you put your kids to bed. Or maybe it's at 5:30 a.m. every morning before you go for a walk and take a shower and get ready to go to work. Maybe it is going to be on Saturdays and Sundays because those are the days when you're not inundated with other commitments. It doesn't matter when, just what matters is that you show up to write and that you sit down and you write. Where are you going to write? A lot of people just really go around and around with this. Well, I can't write because I don't have a dedicated writing space. You can write anywhere. I have written scenes in the front seat of my car while at soccer practice. This was a few years ago. No soccer practices to attend recently. I have written scenes sitting in the doctor's waiting room, or started writing them. I've written poems while sitting in church. Whoops, don't tell my pastor. Maybe he wouldn't like that his sermon inspired poetry, and I tuned him out to tune into my poetic self. So where doesn't really matter. Or if it does, then find out where works for you, but don't use it as an excuse. Some people go to a library. They like the energy and the smell of the books, but it's quiet so they can focus, they can work. Some people prefer a coffee shop because the buzz becomes white noise for their background and helps them tune in to their inner self and hear the artist inside you knocking because they have a story to tell, and you have promised them a platform on which to tell it. So don't use the where and I need a special place as an excuse. Try your dining room table, try your patio table, try anything that feels comfortable to you, okay? And commit to the time you're going to do it. Those are the first two. Number 3, give yourself a length for each session. Now, a lot of people are like, well, if I don't have an hour to write, then there's just no point. I know several published authors who have 10-minute writing sessions. I know others who have 15 and 20-minute writing sessions. A newer acquaintance of mine, she teaches how to find 30 minutes to write every day so that you, as a busy person, for her, she's a mother, a busy mother can set aside the time that it takes to write your novel. So your book, whatever kind of book you're writing. So decide how much time you're going to commit when you make that appointment. If you don't have an hour, you only have 30 minutes, that's fine. But show up ready to write. So what that means is that you might want to fumble back through some of my other videos to find where I talk about how to get yourself in the mind frame to write. And if it takes you 10 minutes because you're like one of my clients who likes to do her morning pages, that's a brain dump, before she sits down for her office time, her writing time, okay? So that's 15, 20 minutes. That doesn't count as part of your writing time. So if it does take you a while to get yourself into it, you need to factor that in outside of the amount of time you're scheduling to actually write words on your project. Now, Goldberg is not really talking about writing the novel. She's talking about just creating space to get in the habit of writing. Because when you do that, then the words start to flow and it becomes a thing, a normal thing, part of your routine, part of your habit, part of what you do. Therefore, when you sit down at the page, your mind knows, okay, this is when, and this is how, and this is what we do. We're writing. But if you throw up a lot of roadblocks to yourself and say, oh, but I can't write because I don't know what's next in my story and da-da-da-da-da. Okay, if you don't know what's next in your story, write about your main character. Write about your plans for Sunday afternoon's dinner. I don't know. Write something, because once you begin writing, that unlocks the flow. I think it was Louis L'Amour who said, you got to turn on the water doesn't flow until you turn on the faucet. So, and he was talking about his writing process. I don't feel creative, so I can't write. You can't expect your creativity not to come if you're not actually writing, and then it shows up. So what I found a lot of times is that the muse gets a little irritated that I'm going to do this writing thing without her. And she's like, no, hello, I'm here, and this is what I think you should do. So, but you have to get yourself into a spot where writing is what you do. You write. You have a specific time, a specific place, and you have a date, an appointment with yourself. You're going to spend 30 minutes writing. That is your writing practice. So there you go, 3 things. And then the 4th thing that I want to mention today is to reevaluate. Is the time and length, is the length of your session, more than that, meeting your writing goals? All right. If for some reason the wind starts to not work for you, then that's something to reevaluate. If for some reason the wear doesn't work, COVID, all the libraries are closed. Now I got to find a new place. All the coffee shops are closed. I got to find a new place. Okay. So reevaluate. But the most important thing to reevaluate is if you are accomplishing in your 30-minute sessions the amount of writing that you want to, that's going to get you to your goal. So what do I mean by that? Okay, say you write for 30 minutes and you write 500 words in that time. So if you want to write an 80,000 word novel, you need to take your 80,000, divide by 500, and figure out how many days, how many sessions of writing for 30 minutes and outputting 500 words it's going to take for you to get to your goal, okay? And if you're stumbling and you're not getting right in the groove, okay, you have to expand time. Everything needs to be flexible. Too many times, and I've been guilty of this myself. When I was contracted, it was like, well, I got to turn out some words because I've got a contract. I have a deadline. I need to get this to my publisher. Well, that's all good and well. But when I put those things on me, all it did was dampen my creativity. Flow into that space. Let it become a natural part of who you are and what you do. That's what Goldberg's talking about in her book here about forming a writing practice. So how do you get started writing, my friend? You decide, make an appointment of when and where and how long you're going to write. And then you show up for that appointment day after day after day. And after you've done it for a few weeks, you look back at how much output you've put out and say, is that going to meet the goal that I have for myself? And if you don't have a goal for yourself, that's fine too. But is it working? Are you still showing up at the page and writing? So I hope that you can write your book and get started writing after hearing how simple it is. 3 steps will get you there, my friend. If you're looking for a supportive community, don't forget to check out the description where I've shared a link to the Write Your Book Nook. It's a free Facebook group where we post encouragement all the time and talk about all things writing, and your questions would be welcome. You can also subscribe to my newsletter, or if you have a comment, because until I have so many subscribers, I can't turn on comments, so you can comment directly on my post. You can click through to my website and I have a contact form there, and you can fill that out and send it along to me, and I will get it and respond. So until next time, you need to go get writing, get to your writing practice, my friend, because your stories matter